Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. So welcome. I'm Lauren Ruth. I'm the Global Director of Communications here at Atacama. And I am here with some brilliant folks here to talk about a pretty deceptively simple question. What will actually define enterprise AI in 2026?
The big push next year and the year after is once we understood how do we start using this, is how do we bring the entire process together? The achievement, the value that we will get from these automations at the end of the day will be when can I automate an end-to-end process? And it's not necessarily about optimizing the work that people are doing. It's also about getting them to focus on the more meaningful aspects of activities that we don't do today.
It's funny. You guys are talking about like Akko, you mentioned the race for AI, and I think you're right. Like everyone's racing to get there. But to win a race or to compete in a race, you've got to have good preparation. You've got to have, the right diet, the right equipment, the right training. For me in this world, that all comes down to the data. AI needs data. And yes, of course, there's the organizational concerns and the organizational maturity. There's the skills that you need and domain expertise around building the AI models and using those models and baking them into processes. But increasingly, I'm seeing that it's all back to the data still. Like those other things need to happen, but you also need to run in parallel your data practices to go from, what was historically a reactionary approach to data and thinking about things like regulation, which are really important. You need to continue to report and regulate and adhere to regulations on data, but also maturing that data practice to serve the needs of the AI program. I think that's one of the positive impacts on this need to get to AI and be AI ready. Like it's positive disruption. Historically, I always saw data teams quite fragmented. You'd have the teams that cared about a lot of the structured data and the teams that cared about the unstructured data. And where it joined together, it was always unstructured data is a bigger problem. We haven't got time to focus on that. We're just going to focus on the low-hanging fruit around the structured data. But now, to Akhil's point, because there's so much intelligence and information locked in that unstructured data, I'm seeing many of our customers now want to think about unstructured data differently and put a higher priority on it because they know if they can unlock the information that's inside that unstructured data and bring that together to put it into structured form, to understand how they can trust that data, what entities are in there, and then serve that into power their LLMs and their RAG models for AI, that's one of the game-changing pieces that organizations can take to really start to accelerate in that race.
It's interesting, actually. A lot of people didn't see this revolution coming from the unstructured side as fast as it has. Suddenly, you've got something that can process mountains and mountains of data. How many documents are buried on SharePoint sites across an organization, right? We worked on clients where they just don't know the size and shape of what that mountain looks like. And trying to sift through all of that would take them years, like literally years, to be able to cut through all of that. So that marriage of unstructured and the structured side of the world, that's where the real opportunities lie. So if we can bring that together, there's some fascinating opportunities.
I totally agree with that. I mean, like we've been talking about marketplaces for a long time. The amount of customers that I talk to that have had failed experiences with building marketplaces, they build a marketplace, but surprise, surprise, no one comes to use it because they've taken the technical
Hmm.
definition and expect the business to understand it. And what they've needed is the rare unicorn in the business that can understand the technical and the business translation and kind of do that themselves.
Your example there is really interesting, Akil. Just to build on it, around 25 definitions of an account balance. With AI, you present it with 25 definitions, it'll pick one. It'll just figure one out. It'll pick one, and it might not be the same one each time. It'll just pick one. And so if you imagine a response to a query, it's so eloquent. Your outputs from your chat GPTs or any other you know GPT of your choosing, it'll give you an answer. And so that you don't know if it's right or wrong because it's had 25 options and not being able to see that, it's just like, okay, you'll lose people. So getting that metadata right is absolutely essential. It's the key that unlocks it all. So
We have covered a slew of topics, agents, unstructured data, semantic layers, text to SQL, but it really feels like there's just a key takeaway here, and none of this works without foundation of trust, trust in that data, trust in the processes, building a culture within the organization so that the organization is ready to absorb that change. So thank you, Jay, Akil, Shailene. Appreciate your candor, your insight, and really appreciate everyone joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.